Servant leadership. Sounds strange. And it is, and a lot of what's on this slide, if you read it, it kind of sounds like we're stating the obvious. I'm not going to cover them all too in depthly, because I think these are pretty commonsensical ideas, but we just sometimes need to be reminded of them. We need to revisit them. We've been talking about this on previous slides, but I'm going to talk about it again, which is an important role, an important function and characteristic of leadership, coaching, servant leadership is listening. Listening, not speaking. That's how we learn. That's how we grow. And it's hard for a lot of us to do that. I think even as managers, I said ego is what gets in the way. Well, insecurity does as well. I mean, you can turn the tables on this whole concept. As business owners, especially, where we have everything in our lives riding on our company, the fear of messing with it, pulling out the wrong card and the whole tower coming down, that's a huge fear. Now, it isn't to say that because we're engaging in this process, we have to accept everything. But the process itself will not come to fruition or bear fruit if we don't control that insecurity and ego. And those two negatives, when we talk about them as a negative, prevent us from listening. I think it's a tie-in. They also prevent us from empathy, empathizing with our people. We all do it. We bark orders. We get caught up in the day-to-day trials and tribulations of managing and running a business. I've done it. We all do it. And people come to us and we just kind of blow them off, and we don't want to hear them. And sometimes it's going to happen. You can't be expected to always be on your best behavior and walk on eggshells. But in these concentrated, focused processes to deal with manure and challenges and grow, you do want to be very conscious and aware and conscious. You want to be very consciously aware of other people and how they're feeling in the process. If you don't, it goes back to we won't get trust and we won't get ideas. And empathy is hard. It's really hard when you're dealing with individuals who, just like you and I, have insecurities, and those insecurities or fears might demonstrate themselves as a bad attitude or as someone being really quiet. And even that, like quiet, can really peeve you. It can really mess with you when you're sitting there and your whole raison d'etre in this atmosphere is to get people to get into it. And then there's someone sitting there, like, just really, I don't want to get into this. You got to draw them out. Don't feel defensive. Don't feel like, come on, encourage them, empathize. Same thing with the person who's sitting there kind of like dismissive of the process, antagonistic. 9 times out of 10, they're not trying to be disruptive. Empathize. They're likely just really uncomfortable being asked to expand themselves and participate more and give more. Look, again, not to venture off into too much psychobabble land here, but if we think about it, there's a lot of bad employers, a lot of people who've had horrible experiences out there, and they've been conditioned to think of an employer as a necessary evil in their life, not as a positive touchstone for greater things. It's our jobs, it's our roles as coaches, servant leaders, managers, supervisors, and owners to punch through that to punch through that societal negativity towards work and show them that we're engaging, give them the plan and that kind of thing. So empathy goes a long way. Persuasion, again, I'm not going to cover everything on this slide. I want to sort of focus and highlight the main, I think, greater issues. So persuasion, that's one of the most difficult things in life, bar none. It's difficult in sales, it's difficult in everyday relationships, and it's equally as hard when you're rallying your people. Because oftentimes we confuse two things: debate and dictate. One's good, one's bad. I'll let you figure that out. It's hard. It's difficult to not dictate. But healthy debate, which means you're not coercing, you're encouraging by proving your point. That's healthy. That's really healthy. You want it. You want the pushback. You want the give and take. But debate is very different from dictate. The last two elements I want to talk about: conceptualization. Conceptualize. Hugely important. We've talked about bringing people into a concept. The concept should be grand. It should be big. It should be exciting. Okay? It's like a movie trailer, man. Make it hot. Make it just, come off the page. Because that's the start. You want people to think and know and believe that they're part of something that's big, that's really going to change the dynamics of their existence and the corporation's focus. That brings people in. It makes them feel a part of something. And then it ties into what I'm going to talk about, is that it gives them the knowledge that they are going to grow as individuals, that this is something that is not just going to benefit them, that they're not just going to have more opportunities, the corporation's going to have more opportunities. And it's also going to help the society around them, the people they interact with. Interestingly, there's a concept called, companies have to have social awareness and social responsibility. On a much more simplistic level, take sales for example, we should always be coming from the mindset of what does the person we're dealing with truly need. We only get that if we listen and we get that feedback. That's actually smart, but it's also showing that you care, that you really want to see if you have something that's going to fit the bill, that hits the nail on the head for what that person wants. Are you really going to be providing something beneficial to them that they have a need for? If the answer to that is yes, you're going to win. You're going to make the sale, and they're going to be happy. It's the same thing here. Well, not only are we talking making people feel that they're contributing and a need is being met and there's opportunity within the organization, but that they sense that what they're doing and what they're building with the organization is going to have that same effect on others, growing the company, bringing in more people, helping whoever it is the company serves. So opportunity and stewardship are very fundamental to this process. Alrighty, next slide please.